Thank you all for coming, and I'm Kyle Holt, and I'd like to talk about why you should be a libertarian. So, the first question is, what is a libertarian? And the full definition is someone who believes in the non-aggression principle. And the non-aggression principle states that the initiation of force is wrong. The defensive force is perfectly reasonable, so it may seem like a pacifist philosophy, but in actuality, it's a more defensive philosophy. In more specific terms, it believes that government intervention should be kept at a minimum, and that only things done consensually agreed upon by all parties involved is justifiable. Here's some things that libertarians believe in, some things that it agrees with the left on, or some things that it disagrees with the left on is government-regulated economy, military intervention in Somalia, Haiti, Balkans, using eminent domain to gain property, banning guns, tax refunding of government charities, special rights for minorities, and more government spending. That's just some things that it disagrees with the left on. Some things that it disagrees with the right on is government-regulated morality, military adventurism, the war on drugs, surveillance state, tax funding and faith-based charities, corporate welfare, and marriage should be between a man and a woman. Positions that it agrees with the left on are personal freedoms, a non-interventionist foreign policy, tolerance of others' peaceful choices, civil liberties, separation of church and state, equal opportunity, and recently with the left's agreement for gay marriage, which the Libertarian Party has done since its inception. Things it agrees with the right on is economic freedom, robust national defense, respect for others' property rights, individual right to keep and bear arms, giving generously to those in need, and advancement based on individuals' abilities, and less government spending. So, in summary, the positions of the Libertarian Party are government should defend our rights and let individuals pursue their own interests, to stop the nation building and being the policeman of the world, and peace should be done through trade and diplomacy. In the war on drugs, and legalize the drugs because that would only make it safer for people, and in gangs that we have now, they're based off those drugs. Champion civil liberties and protection of personal privacy. Support of small business and free markets and capitalism. Even though a libertarian can be socialist, they have to consensually agree to a more socialist system. So people couldn't just force socialism on. People should be able to marry who they want, and government spending is wasteful and ineffective. In libertarianism, it's a very individualist philosophy, and as a libertarian, you can believe in anything but the initiation of force. That is the one thing that you cannot believe in and be a libertarian. And the thing about libertarianism is we don't have one way of forcing everyone to do anything. If you think of a way to build a road and you think this is the best way and you're willing to put your money on it, you can spend all that money that you want on it. But you can't force anyone else to pay for it. And the same, if you find a business opportunity that you want to pursue, so long as you don't force anyone else to participate in it and it's only your risk, that is perfectly reasonable. And the real effects of a libertarian society is lower to no taxes, as the government usages of the money would be lessened to nullified, as people would take each other up and carry each other. There would actually be more freedoms, such as being able to do whatever you wanted with your own body. If you wanted to put drugs in it, or if you wanted to, I don't know, cut off an arm or something, you can do that if you want. Something that's actually, a couple things that are counterintuitive is actually less pollution and a lower wealth gap. And you always hear people talking about how pollution is bad and wealth gap is bad. Well, actually, in freer countries, pollution actually goes down as the corporations and things are more accountable to the citizen. Thus, they don't pollute as much. And with a wealth gap, there isn't a group of people forcing certain groups to be at the top. Thus, they have a ability to move around. So that allows for better mobility through your economy and all. And those are my sources. So, does anyone have any questions?
Does that mean if I commit a crime, the cop and I both have to agree I have to go to jail? So for them to take me
No,
to jail?
because that violates the non-initiation of force principle or the non-aggression principle. As long as you don't, let's say that you see someone else commit a crime and you use force to stop them, you are not in the wrong. But if you commit the crime yourself, if you initiate the force, then you are culpable to your actions. So anyone has the right to stop you if they see you initiating the force. So it wouldn't just be a specific group of people as well. Like anyone could be a policeman in that scenario. Like anyone could stop you from your actions if you were initiating force. Any other questions?
Who would build the roads?
Oh, who would build the roads? That's the best one. In a libertarian society, there's not really one way of doing things, but in it, anyone could build the roads. Let's take how it was before the government started building roads. It was built by groups of people and communities and things that would get together and build roads to other locations. It was actually not till more recently that the government's claimed in eminent domain on roads and public transits. So now that you can't own a road yourself, which they've started going back on because people have been littering and things and no one wants to clean it up. Any other questions?
Does that mean the government and I have to agree that I'm going to pay my taxes?
Well,
Or can I disagree with that and they can't force me to pay my taxes?
I mean, technically taxes are funded through theft, or the theft in and of themselves, but that's beside the point. If they're providing a service and you're agreeing to that service, you could have a contract with them for that service. You pay them for that service. But thank you all for listening to my speech. So.